Hello everyone, it's Erica here from Me To You Paper Crafts, and I have such an exciting card for you, a fun fold card today for you. Look at this. Now this is not the way I really wanted it to turn out, but I'm just going to show you the basic of it, how it works. It's a crossover gatefold card. So it kind of opens like this, and then you reveal a few little exciting surprise elements in there. So when I was making this card, I then realized there's way too much of a gap here in the middle, so I've readjusted my measurements, and so it's going to be a tighter fit, and I think it'll look a lot better. So first of all, I want to tell you about the stamp set and the paper that I'm using. This is from our annual catalog. So it's called Memorable Mosaic, and when you see the paper, you'll understand. And in the beginning, people had a difficult time knowing what this was. Well, it's a beautiful willow tree, and when you stamp it, it's just absolutely gorgeous. So inside, I'll just show you the stamps, and one is missing because we're going to use it as the greeting. But these are what the stamps look like. So there's some really fun, like even the greetings are in a mosaic print, and there's a few extra little embellishments for the insides of your cards as well as for your envelopes. So we're going to be using that stamp set, and wait till you see the papers. I've pulled them out for you. The exciting thing about these papers, I don't know if you can see it in the camera. There you go. They've got shine on them, so they're actually clear embossed. So you get this beautiful leafy pattern here, and then you get these gorgeous roses that you can actually cut out. You can cut out those little butterflies as well. Then these little circular flowers, they are also embossed in clear, very pretty. You could actually use a tiny punch and punch those out. There's this gorgeous, I love this sheet. This is all mosaic, and it reminds me of Vegas. Should really remind me of Italy, but you know, there's a lot of mosaic in Italy, and a lot of tiled floors in some of the hotels. I think the Bellagio. This reminds me of the Bellagio Hotel. And then look, there's these beautiful hummingbirds on here. And I have one last sheet, but I've been using it a lot. There are these braided mosaic pieces. I just love this paper. I'll flip it over so you can see the back. These are the non-embossed sides, but you see you get some beautiful, also more birds, some more of the stripes. Yeah, it's just stunning. Make beautiful paper bags because of the in and the out, and beautiful lidded boxes with inside and outside. Anyway, I highly recommend this set. Even if you just get the papers, it's just stunning. Okay, so to prepare for the card that I'm going to make, I have everything cut out, and as usual, I will have a blog post with all of the measurements on there, so that you don't have to worry about writing, because there's some little, well, I'll give you a few measurements here because I want to point something out to you. So as I was saying earlier, we are going to close this gap in here. Okay, now what I did was I cut out a hummingbird for the front of my card, and when you look at this paper, I want you to note that, you know, some of these birds are flying in and out off the edges of the paper. And most of them you can use because you can line them up with the edge of your paper, either on, you know, the outside of your card or on the inside of the card, much as I did in here. So I have one bird flying out and I have one bird coming in. I think that's just, well, I think it's pretty unique. So don't waste those little bits of leftover pieces if you can cut out a little bird. Okay, and then I'm going to show you a trick that, yes, you can emboss with just our water-based pads. You have to be fairly quick, but you can do it, and I'll show you how to do that. So I may mix up these the ink pad colors as we go, and I've mixed up the colors for the next card. So this was a garden green, and for the next card I'm going to use this terracotta tile card base. So this is your regular 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and we're going to, I'll give you the measurements to score a gatefold. And then you will need your DSP. So you're going to cut 2 strips of DSP, one for the top and one for the bottom, and you can decide which you want on top and on the bottom. And these measure 1 3/4 by 5. Pretty simple. But then to close that gap, you're going to cut 2 base strips, and yes, you have to use 1/16 of an inch measurements. So this is 1 15 16th by 5 1/4. So if you look at your scoreboard, not your scoreboard, I apologize, your trimmer, it is in 1/16 and 1/8 and 1/4 inches. So 1 15 16 is that very, very last notch before the full 2-inch mark. Okay, so you need 2 strips of that as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is pull out, oh, I don't need this. I'm going to pull out my scoreboard, and I'm going to score my cardstock, but first I'm going to run it over with a wax paper. And then I'm going to score this on the long side. Can you see my board there? I think I'm in, am I in a zoom? Let's just see. Nope, the other way. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to take my stylus, which is up here, and I'm going to score this at 2 3/4 and 8 1/4. So 2 3/4 and 8 1/4. That creates your gatefold, and that's all we have to do. So I'm going to fold these over, make sure that my edges line up, pull out my bone folder. I'm just going to make a nice crisp edge and do the same on the other side. So there's your gatefold. And then on the inside of the card you will need a piece of, depending on what DSP you're using. This DSP, the base color is very vanilla. So I have a piece of very vanilla here that is 4 by 5 1/4. That'll be the inside of my card with those little extra hummingbirds. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my DSP onto these base strips. Again, once all of these pieces are, you've cut them, it's a fairly simple card to put together. So I'll pull out my silicone mat, and you may want to just check, turn the papers over and see if there's something you like better. And take out my, I just love this striped one. And in our mini catalog there is a beautiful braided punch, which I could now incorporate with this paper. So let's get this on here. And this one. So for those of you who watch me here on YouTube, I wanted to let you know that on my Facebook business page, which is From Me to You Paper Crafts, I have a group that you can join where I post Facebook Live sessions right now, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you can't make it, then of course you can watch the replay. But I have a group that joins in and we craft together. I make a project and a day in advance, I send out all of the cutting and scoring measurements so that they can prepare their materials, and then they can craft along, or they can just sit back and with a coffee or a beverage of their choice, and they can watch and then make the card later. I encourage participation. I encourage people to make their projects, even if it's not the same stamp set or the same colors. They can make their projects and post photos. So I'd love for you to join me. I'm just doing these that many times a week just to keep everybody crafting and give you something else to do during the day, because let's be honest, you can only clean your house for so long. Okay, so we want to glue these on. Now, you have to note that you are gluing these only on the left and the right. Okay, so I kind of mark with my finger where to put my glue. And I like to use Tombow in this case so that I can, you know, move it into place, because you want to still try and line it up. So you want to leave yourself about 1/8 of an inch at the bottom and on the sides. Whoops, that slid. Yes, Tombow slides. I shouldn't have rubbed so soon. I feel like I've got a little sticky on that. I know how to get rid of that. So that's the left side, and now I want to do the right side. So I'm just going to put my finger here. And then I'm going to, you have to make it even with, I think I'll turn, no, I can't turn around. I'll make it even, you want to make it even with that bottom strip. Like that. So there's your crossover. It's pretty simple. Just make sure your glue doesn't overlap. So there's my crossover. Now I have my full hummingbird here, and you don't want it to overlap like this, you see, because you won't be able to open the card. So be careful that you get it just totally on this top flap. Okay, so it can freely open. So I'm going to put that on with some dimensionals. Don't put them, you know, too close to your edges. And don't let him extend past your card too much. I mean, you can do a tiny bit past the edges of the main card, but not too much, because you want it to still fit in the envelope. So see how he will open up freely like that. Okay, now I want to make a label on here, and so I'm going to show you how to emboss using your just simple dye inks. Normally we use Versamark. So what you want is, I need a scrap piece of terracotta tile, and did I bring that out? I'm trying to be so prepared. So hang on just a sec. Hang on just a sec. Where did I put my terracotta tile? So here's a piece of terracotta tile, and I want to take my embossing buddy, and I'm just going to run that over. And I am using clear embossing powder. Okay, so I have my bucket of clear embossing powder over here with a spoon. And I like to tap my powder to get it to the end. So that's ready. Now I've got my clean stamp, and I'm going to stamp this in brown espresso, early espresso, on top of the terracotta tile. So I ink up my stamp. So you cannot afford to go and have coffee now. You have to stamp this and then quickly get your clear embossing powder on top. Okay. Like, get your powder on your spoon. And then I'm going to make some noise and emboss this. So here we go. I hope, I'm not sure if you, there you go. If I shine the light on it, you can see that it's clearly embossed. So I want to wait for that to cool before I punch it out. And the punch I'm using is called the Timeless Label Punch. This makes a very tight fitting punch. Make sure that's cool, and we'll punch that out. so it lines up really well. So you don't want to see any terracotta tile cardstock beyond the edges. See how tight that fit is? Punch that out. And I'm also going to put these on dimensionals. So what this does, being able to emboss on top of our regular ink pads, is it opens up a plethora of colors. You just have to order your clear embossing powder from my online store, and maybe you'd like to pick up some of this paper and the stamp set, and then you can use any color. It's just great. Instead of having, in years gone by, we always had so many colors of embossing powder, and now we've gone back to some of the basic colors because you just don't need them all. Okay, so bringing back my card, I'm going to stick this on like this, and that makes basically the front of your card. You don't need much else because the paper kind of speaks for itself. Now, for the inside, I am taking my Very Vanilla cardstock, and this greeting basically says, sending all happy wishes your way. So I pulled out another stamp set called Itty Bitty Birthdays. This is a great stamp set to have on hand for birthdays because it has kind of inside and outside greetings, and I love that it has a happy belated birthday. And I love this awesome at any age, and it's got some, you know, for teenagers, maybe for some adults. I mean, let's face it, you're growing up. Can't believe you're another year older. They say it's your birthday. At least you'll always be younger than me. You're not just old, you're just older. Yeah, it's just a really, really great stamp set for birthdays. And I use it quite a lot. It's good to keep in your stash all the time. Okay, Itty Bitty Birthdays, that's called. Now, for the inside, so those are the greetings I'm going to use. And I'm going to do two colors. I'm going to do, it's sure to be a fun day is what I've decided to do, and then time to celebrate. So I am going to probably do, it's sure to be a fun day, maybe in the early espresso. Or maybe I should bring in a different color. Let's see, there's mint macaron. There's so many colors in this paper. I have to run through them with you. So many colors. So we have Blushing Bride, Crushed Curry, Garden Green, Mint Macaron, Soft Suede, Terracotta Tile, Very Vanilla, and it says Whisper White. I guess there's Whisper White in here on some of the DSP. Yeah, in between those hummingbirds and on the braid. So you could use both Whisper White or you could use Very Vanilla as well. I really like it with the Very Vanilla. So when you have these edge pieces, you see I cut out this little hummingbird, and you know, I think part of his tail is missing, or this looks like a smaller hummingbird, but definitely his wing is chopped off. And so, you know, you can just line that up with the edge of your paper like that. He's swooping in from the top to say it's sure to be a fun day. So you want to position these first. So this one just has his wing cut off. So I could put him down here. I mean, look how unique that is. I love that. Now remember, a lot of our papers, you know, because they must cut. I mean, they must prepare. It must come on these, like running a newspaper. It must come on reams of paper that they then cut into 12 by 12 sheets. And so there's lots of edge pieces that are obviously cut off. Well, don't ignore those. You can incorporate those in your cards. So I then, because I've positioned them, now I can figure out where I want to do my greetings. So I'm going to do, I think I'll do this one in early. No, I was going to bring in mint macaron, wasn't I? Mint macaron, here we go. I could bring in crushed curry too. Yeah, so many choices. So I'm going to do, it's sure to be a fun day. I have quite a few birthdays in June. I think it's my busiest month for birthdays. So I need to get cracking and make some cards because I obviously can't, I probably won't be handing them out to anybody. Okay, now I like to line up my grid paper, or line up my paper, sorry, with my grid paper, the lines, because it really does help me coordinate my eye to make sure that it is straight. And I don't look for perfection in my stamping because sometimes it's not possible. I will say though that the new cling stamps, if you use certain methods to put them on, and I do have a video on my channel that tells you or shows you how I put my stickers on my stamps to make sure that they are on as perfectly as they possibly can. And if you get your sticker on, then the stamp is more than likely almost 99.98% perfectly lined up. And so you can achieve better alignment. Okay, so I'm going to use terracotta tile here, and I'm now going to put in, it's sure to be a fun day, and maybe I'll put it over here. Time to celebrate. There we go. So now that I have my greetings on there, I feel confident that I can now glue down my birds. Now this is where the silicone mat is stupendous because I can just, you know, run my tape runner right over the image and not get any on my grid mat and make it all sticky. So let's put this little guy, both his tail and his wing need to be lined up. So there's that little bird. And if you have bits of extra glue on there, you should be able to roll it off with your fingers, or you get yourself one of those adhesive removal erasers that are available in the dollar store. I recommend that all the time. I wish Stampin' Up! Would come back with one. Okay, let's do this bird now. Let's get the tail. And he's going to fly in from, I think I'll turn upside down so I can line up his wing. Make sure his tail is on the paper. There we go. There you go. I love that. Oh my gosh, I love that. Love that. Okay. Now I'm going to glue this to the inside of my card. I hope you like this card as much as I like it. So line that up in the center. Watch your top, watch your bottom. I like this hovering technique. I grab the paper from two sides and I hover and I run my eye along the top and the bottom and the sides. And I get pretty good accuracy with that. There you have it. there you have it, a beautiful card. There's a couple, well, there's quite a few little dots on here. I'm not sure if you can see that. Let me zoom you in. So you could put some little rhinestone. Oh my gosh, look at these. Wait. I just have to find them here. In our 2020 mini catalog, look at these. These are champagne rhinestones. Wouldn't they look absolutely gorgeous on there? Ooh, we're going to just put a couple on there so you can see what they look like. Let me grab my paper snips because I like to put my rhinestones on with my paper snips. So I just kind of squeeze to get a blade underneath there. And let's put one on the top and the, oh, look at that color. Brilliant. This is what I absolutely love about Stampin' Up. You just pull stuff out and it all coordinates. Gone are the day when you're trying to match up reds with different red tones or yellow tones where nothing matches. And your card sometimes ends up looking like a dog's breakfast. Okay, there you go. I should zoom out now. I'll keep it zoomed in so you can see those rhinestones. Aren't they beautiful? And they're so sparkly. Just so sparkly. I'd like a pair of earrings like that. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. So, ladies and gents, that's your Fun Fold Friday for this week, April 8th, 9th, April 10th. Tomorrow. It comes up tomorrow with a blog post with all of your measurements. And I will include a shopping list of all of these items. And so if you wish to place an order in my online store, feel free to do that. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you supporting my YouTube channel. I am trying very hard. I only have about, I don't know, I'm going to say around 250 subscribers right now. I would love to get to 1,000. And the reason is that I can then do actually YouTube lives. For whatever reason, there's a restriction. I cannot do a live video on YouTube until I get to 1,000 subscribers. Now, on Facebook, that's not a problem, but I do have a lot of people who, you know, don't have Facebook and they just use YouTube. So I'd love to be able to do some live sessions so that we can have a little chat and a craft time together. So if you'd like to share what you see, I mean, if I'm worthy of sharing, please share. And let's see if I can't get my numbers up so I can we can have more fun. I appreciate everything you do for me in my Stampin' Up! Business. And we'll see you next week. Remember, if you want to do those Facebook Lives, head on over to my From Me to You Paper Crafts. And there is a join group button. I'd love to see you over there as well. Thank you. Bye for now.